Hello and welcome to session one of the PPE everyone should have, and that stands for Professional and Personal Etiquette. My name is Tia Young, and I'm the founder of Tia Young Image and Etiquette. I help my clients learn the soft skills for success through professional development and etiquette training. Thank you so much for joining me today. The PPE everyone should have, session one. And this session will be focused on professional etiquette. The topic for today is greetings and introductions. All right, here we go. First impressions. This is one of my favorite quotes. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. So when you meet someone for the first time, whether it's in person, on the telephone, on Zoom, how are you showing up? Are they getting a great first impression of you? So let's find out a few ways that we can do that. What to say and how. Greetings and introductions are the first words we say to people we meet. So it's good to know what to say and how. Let's start out with hello. And this is the most basic greeting in English. Hello. Hi. This is the shorter version of hello. So which one do you think is more formal? And of course, hello is more formal than hi. And then hey, now hey is definitely more casual than hi or hello. You want to reserve that in a more social setting. Other options for greetings are good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It depends on what time of day it is. Keep in mind, if you're on, let's say, a Zoom meeting, and there's people from different parts of the country or different parts of the world, it might not be morning where they are or evening where they are. So keep that in mind also. You might want to stick to hello. Other options, nice to meet you. It's a pleasure to meet you. It's good to see you again. What's up? Of course, that's more casual for more social settings. How have you been if you've met them before? What's new? Sup? Normally that comes with the head lift. What's up? Very casual. Your best buddies, you want to reserve that for not your boss or not your professional colleagues. And how's it going? How's it going? Someone that you've talked to in the past. And this is just an example of the different ways to say hello. Of course, I'm sure there's other ways also that I haven't mentioned. What to do and how. You always want to stand up for an introduction or greeting. When you're greeting new people, do so face to face if possible. As I mentioned before, that introduction might be over a Zoom meeting virtually. It might be over an email, phone call, or text. They can't see you, but they can hear your voice. Believe it or not, people can hear a smile in your voice when you're on the phone, or even just turn back to someone and say hello, and then say hello. You see the difference? I had a smile the second time. You definitely can hear that. You want to look them in the eye and get eye contact. Now, if you're on a virtual screen, you want to look at that camera light to make sure that gives the impression of eye contact instead of looking at the screen when you're speaking. Always smile. That warms other people up when they see that smile. It's contagious. And when you smile, the world smiles with you. Take the initiative with the handshake. So when you're meeting someone new, extend that hand for the handshake. Nowadays, we're a little more cautious with the handshake. So in just a moment, I'll share with you different ways instead of the handshake. As you see on the picture down bottom, bowing in other countries is what they do traditionally. That might be the new thing we do here so we don't spread germs. Say who you are. You want to say, introduce yourself, even if they might know it might be someone new or you haven't seen in a while. Always say your name again. Hello, I'm Tia Young. Even if they remember They might have gotten you confused with someone else. You just want to say your name to make it more comfortable for them. So that even if they forgot, they won't have to feel bad about asking you your name. So always say it again. Observe the hierarchy. There's always hierarchy in business settings. The person with the most power, or the boss, or the CEO, is going to have a little bit more respect, so to speak, than the people that are working. Now, clients and customers, on the other hand, and I'll share in just a moment, you will introduce them first when they're being introduced to employees. And 7, get the name right. You have to be paying attention so you can grab that name and remember it when you're meeting someone new. Try to grab it, say that name back. It's a pleasure to meet you, Lisa. It's a pleasure to meet you, John. And say it 2 or 3 times during the conversation. If the conversation continues, people love to hear their names. They love to know that you remember their name. So when you're departing, also say their name again, that it was nice to meet them, and exchange contact information if you like. How to shake hands with confidence. If you feel comfortable shaking hands with confidence, you want to first begin with that oral introduction that we just talked about. Hello, good afternoon. You always want to start with the greeting first. Pump your hand only 2 to 3 times when you are shaking hands. I'm shaking my own hand. I normally wouldn't do that. First of all, you want to start with the right hand only, unless, let's say, there's an exception where you might have a cast or something wrong with your hand. Then you can't, if you can't shake hands with your right, you might want to offer your left. But you always want to shake hands with your right. 2 to 3 pumps. Go web to web, 2 to 3 pumps. 1, 2, 3. That's the pump. Then let go. That should only last 5 seconds or less for that handshake. Don't continue to shake hands as you're talking. Let go after that 2 to 3 pumps. Shake from the elbow, not the wrist. So that just means when you're shaking, it's going up and down like that. And the hand is not moving, but the arm, the elbow, up and down like that. And of course, that's natural for us to shake from the elbow. Avoid offering, do not use a forceful grip. I know sometimes people think more power, the firmer you have to shake. No, firm handshake, but not where you're going to crush their bones. So firm handshake shows confidence, but not too hard where it feels painful for them, especially a man shaking a woman's hand. Don't be gentle, be firm, but not where it's going to hurt. Avoid offering a fish hand. That just means a fish is cold and wet, right? So you want to make sure that your hand is dry, especially if you're at a networking event where there's drinks and you're holding your glass with your right hand and it's wet because the glass is wet. Try to use your left hand or put the glass down on the table when you're making those introductions and shaking hands, so you won't give them a cold, wet hand. Avoid forget lady fingers. Sometimes ladies will reach just their fingertips out as if they're a queen or a princess. So you can shake their hands always. Ladies, make sure firm, web to web, 2 to 3 pumps all the way in like this, not just the fingertips, especially in a business setting. One hand is better than 2. Some people shake and then cover with the other hand. Sometimes that's done for sentimental reasons. Funeral directors might use that, or pastors might use that handshake just to show warm. But professional business setting and casual social settings, just one hand is fine, 2 to 3 pumps. Shaking a sweaty hand. Well, if you know you're going to be having have a sweaty hand, you want to try to wipe that hand off with a tissue. If it's a casual setting, maybe on your jeans or pants. But you don't want to give someone a wet hand if you know it's a wet hand. But sometimes if someone shakes your hand and it is wet, you don't want to bring it to their attention. Just go ahead and shake and let go. Don't want to embarrass them. Additional tips and alternatives. If you're not comfortable shaking hands because you don't want to spread germs because of the viruses that are going around, you can bow, just like they do in other countries. Praying hands, you might want to just do that. The fist bump, like you see on the picture there, but that's kind of spreading germs too. You're touching someone else. So the elbow bump might be a little bit better. Just bump your elbow to theirs. You're touching, but it's in a spot that's normally not going to be touched as often as the hand would be. Wave hands hello. I like to do that sometimes. Hi, especially sometimes on Zoom. Hi, and you wave like that, or just one hand. You just wave from afar. That kind of lets them know that you're not coming in for a handshake. You're not reaching out. You're just kind of waving like that. You try not to shake hands over a counter or table if you can avoid it. So you want to come face to face to that person to shake hands, or if you are shaking hands, but don't try to reach over the table to do so. But if somebody extends their hand over the table, even though you know that's not proper, you go ahead because you don't want to embarrass them. But you don't initiate a hand over a counter, table, or some kind of boundary or border. Show respect and offer a greeting. If you're not shaking hands because of COVID, you just still want to do something, that wave, that bow, something to respect them that they're trying to greet you and say hello. You don't want to just not do anything. Do something that you feel comfortable with. Whose name do you say first when making that introduction, when introducing? It depends on the setting, business setting, social setting, and then exceptions to the rule. In a business setting, the person who has the higher title's name is said first. If you're introducing two people, the person that has the higher title's name will be said first. Mr. John, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Smith. That means Mr. John has more power or seniority in that business, or is more successful in his business overall. You don't have to say it again, because then you're taking that power away from the first person and you're giving it to the second. I see that all the time. Mr. John, meet Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, meet Mr. John. And you don't have to use your hands. You can just kind of look at each person as you're saying their name, but don't say it twice. Now, in a social setting, when you're introducing a woman to a man, the woman's name is said first. When you're introducing a girl to a boy, the girl's name is said first. Women to women, the older person is said first. And then also the highest title in social setting. Business, it all goes by the title or hierarchy. Social settings, women and age is more important. And then the exception to the rule, when you're introducing a customer, their name is said first because they're bringing business to that company. So that's the exception to the rule. All right, that covers our greetings and introductions for today's session. This is my contact information here. I love to hear from you. If you have questions, there is a QR code there for you to schedule a 15 or 30-minute consultation, or just to ask questions or give me any feedback, and I'll be happy to answer them in our next session. Of course, there's a copy of my book, How to Navigate Premium Experiences, that each of you will get as part of this course. And then my podcast there, Normal to Formal. Please listen, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really enjoy doing what I do, and hopefully you learn some new things about greetings and introductions. I look forward to seeing you next time in the PPE everyone should have for session 2. See you then. Thank you.